Hello everybody and welcome back to F1 22 with me, Dan, and the BMW Slothz team, exclusively now on this channel. So the old channel will no longer have any uploads. So if you haven't subscribed over here yet, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want, you can unsubscribe from the old one. It's probably the first time in YouTube history that anybody has asked somebody to do that. Anyway, we're on to Australia for today's race 3 of the season. Not one that I've done yet, I think, on this channel. In fact, maybe not even at all with the new track layout, because we actually missed it in the previous 2 seasons. So this should be interesting. I don't really know what to expect, and we'll just, I guess, take it as it comes, I suppose. We'll see if any of the upgrades we've managed to get finished for this race will actually benefit us. If not, we might have to wait until afterwards in Miami before we actually see any real improvements from us and, of course, our teammate Carlos Sainz. Anyway, we're on to practice 3 already, and the additional resource points that we've been harvesting are much appreciated at this point. Of course, with BMW now being the title sponsor, we can just throw as many resource points as we like at this project and see if we can actually get at least a Drivers' Championship, maybe even a Constructors' one by the end as well. We'll have to see how Carlos Sainz improves over the season. That looks as though we're pretty much stuck and done with practice, so it's over to do some R&D with the points. There's a drag reduction upgrade that we're throwing on there. You can see we're already top of the aero, and then spending some more on fuel economy. This is the state of the performance across the board. You can see that we're actually the 6th best team. The reason I'm putting it up here right now is we'll have another look at it during the Miami Grand Prix, when I definitely know we've got some chassis upgrades coming. So pause the video, have a look, and remember where we are in 1 episode time. For now, though, it is, of course, time to head over to the Australian Grand Prix for the first time on the channel. And this is with the new track changes, which changed on a few of the corners around the circuit, potentially making it even better. Having actually finished the race by now, I would say yes, it does. Although there's some corners I still struggle with. Anyway, don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell so you know when the next races are uploaded. And we'll get on with the starting grid in just a second for the Australian Grand Prix, and maybe even actually see some other cars besides Pierre Gasly as we go down to the trackside. But anyways, Lando Norris starting alongside Max Verstappen on the front row here. Behind them we will have the following drivers, starting with Lance Stroll in the Alpine and us in P4, Fernando Alonso and Charles Leclerc. Then we have Carlos Sainz in the top 10 alongside Esteban Ocon, Sergio Perez and Lewis Hamilton. George Russell and Pierre Gasly, Kevin Magnussen, Yuki Tsunoda, Alex Albon, Oscar Piastri, Dan Ticktum, Nicholas Latifi, Teo Pourchaire, our old teammate, and Robert Schwartzman, and finally Mick Schumacher and Zhou Guanyu. Not looking good for the Aston Martin duo here, and all the Audis for that matter. As we go down to the trackside, we see the Aston Martin safety car is out for this Grand Prix, but we've not seen it at all so far, and that's all we're going to see. Well, that was some exciting trackside action, wasn't it, pre-Grand Prix? For now, let's get on with the actual race then. And it's lights out away we go. Graphical glitches all over the place there. That was a graphics driver issue that we've hopefully resolved by now. But we go into turn 1, challenging with Fernando Alonso, who tried to take the position away from us. Up ahead, Lando Norris has actually maintained his lead ahead of Max Verstappen, and we've got Lance Stroll attempting to get past the Porsche Red Bull, trying to take a higher place on the podium. We must look on at the back of an Alpine, which is something that we had to do a few times last season, I suppose. Only last season we were fighting for the bottom end of the top 10 a lot of the time, and we beat Alpine to the 6th place in the Constructors' Championship, I should say, I believe in the end, and outdid Lance Stroll and his teammate Esteban Ocon, who at the moment is a little further back somewhere in the rabble behind. But yeah, nearly concluding lap 1 there. No progress really made. And in actual fact, we've dropped back quite substantially from Lance Stroll by lap 3. And that's allowed Fernando Alonso to get the DRS. And he's going to go down the inside into this newly laid out corner. Clips the curb. He doesn't actually get the position. But he'll certainly be looking out to see if there's another opportunity here as he gets right up to the gearbox. On the approach to the pit straight, Charles Leclerc and the Ferrari also looking a little bit racy back there. The battle for the lead still going on. Max Verstappen trying to close up on Lando Norris. He doesn't appear to have managed it on this occasion. We stay ahead of Alonso just about here as we come on to the second bit of DRS on the lap, and he's going to go around the outside. Is it going to hold the position though? Are we going to be able to defend it as we are forced to the outside? We run off the road there, nearly crashed into Charles Leclerc, but we've actually lost out to a McLaren, nearly running off into the barriers there as Charles Leclerc is trying to find a way past us desperately to not get lost near the back of the field. In fact, actually, that's helped our teammate Carlos Sainz very slightly there, although as we rejoin here on the end of lap 5, it doesn't appear to have benefited him enough to try and get another overtake in. And we get a lovely helicopter shot here of Fernando Alonso running away from us. He is almost out of DRS range, but that doesn't really matter at this point because he's just come, or we've come into the pits. There is another, oh my god, that was a sudden stop there. Whiplash galore on that pit entry. I was just about to say that the Alpine crew are out as well. That's to service Esteban Ocon, who's behind us. And we've got another issue with the pit crew. Since upgrading them to level 2, we've seemed to have had no end of issues since we actually started investing money in them. I think the money's getting to their head at this point. That is another issue for the pit stops. We've lost the position to Esteban Ocon. We rejoined on lap 7. We got Kevin Magnussen coming out of the pit lane. We're now behind our teammate in the other BMW Slothz. We're going to get no DRS on him at all, which is really helpful. And we come down into turn 3. Look at the positions we lost. We've got Pierre Gasly, George Russell in front of us. Our teammate, as I mentioned, we nearly lost the position to Kevin Magnussen. Sergio Perez did start further back down the grid, so he's still behind us anyway, trying to get his way through, clearly not having a good day. But where we should be is actually on the mini-map there, ahead of Russell, in between those two Alpines, as we go around the outside of our teammate to try and redeem ourselves here into the fast left-righter. I don't know if it's got a name. It is just the fast left-righter, but we've managed to get round it fairly quickly. Carlos Sainz has not come back at us in any substantial way, and we come round towards the pits straight. Final few cars beginning to filter in now. There is a Red Bull out on track. I think that'll be Max Verstappen at this point, so he's going to take the lead ahead of Lando Norris. We nearly crash into the barrier there and give another position over to Carlos Sainz, but we get past Tsunoda. Into turn 1 we go, running quite wide. Still not a circuit that I'm particularly happy with. Whatever setup I seem to go through on this track, I seem to just slide all over the place. But we rejoin later on the lap, and we've managed to catch up to Pierre Gasly with our superior speed here down at the new one of the newly formatted corners again. Down the inside, nearly into the left-righter. Wasn't going to happen on this occasion. We get another opportunity here with the DRS, but Gasly's going defensive. He cuts across in front of us in the braking zone. He's all over the place right now. He's absolutely compromised himself there. He's dropped too far back from George Russell to benefit from any DRS, so he is going to be vulnerable on the pit straight. But this corner, another one I just find very difficult. You can see it nearly crash into the barrier there as we accelerate off the curb. It might have to be on the approach to turn 3 that we try and take Gasly here. He runs onto the dirt, kicks up a load of mud into our visor to try and blind us, and somehow still remains ahead of us at the end of that DRS straight. So the Ford AlphaTauri putting in some good work here. Although I think part of it might just be down to my unfamiliarity with actually how to do this circuit properly. So we come roundabout to this section again. Going incredibly fast, almost hitting 200 miles an hour. There it is. We're going to go to the outside this time around the Ford Alpha Tauri, and we easily get the position. And we turn in. That's a great entry there, actually, into the left-righter. Gasly still on our tail, but he's going to be dropping back slightly any second now because of our superior speed. Clip the corner about right there, I think, without absolutely destroying the tyre on that very vicious triangle that they've put there. And we've rejoined on the penultimate lap, lap 14 of 15. We're behind Russell now. There's a Haas stopped on track right before the left-righter. That's not a good place to be. As we approach with menacing speed to the back of the Mercedes, we're going to hit the yellow flag zone. There it is. Yellow flags are out, but we go to the outside anyway. Green flags, and we get the move done on Russell right at the last second there that we were allowed to. Managing to take P7 away and somehow still have the fastest lap. I don't know how long that's going to last, but we go on board with Russell just to have a look at that. Green flags come out and we go soaring past. You'd have thought a Mercedes would have expected a move like that, considering that's the sort of thing that they would do on the roads. But no, George Russell, completely oblivious to the fact that we were about to make that move. And to be fair, actually, one of the best entries I had into that corner ever, I think. I've never done too many overtakes there, so that was particularly impressive for me at the time. But we come down the DRS straight, or one of the many of them that there are on this circuit, for the final lap, and we find ourselves actually where we began, staring at the ass end of an Alpine coming through the final lap. Only this time it's Esteban Ocon as opposed to his teammate Lance Stroll. Alpine actually starting off strong this season, so maybe we'll see them in the title fight as the season progresses. For now, let's just keep an eye on where we can finish ahead of them. There's Alonso and Norris ahead. Max Verstappen is absolutely miles ahead at this point, so he's not even worth mentioning. But we've only got one opportunity, and that's more than likely here to try and take a position away and gain a couple of extra points from Esteban Ocon. It's not going to happen. Up in the background, Carlos Sainz is still trying to get past Pierre Gasly. He's been doing that for quite some time, and I don't think he's going to before the end of the race, but he will at least score something. But we come round the final corner, have a massive snap of oversteer for the 100th time on this circuit, cross the line, and that is the end of the race. There's Russell trying to cut the... Oh, he makes contact with us, the cheeky bastard, as we come round turn one on the in-lap. Charles Leclerc picks up driver of the day for that one. He did finish on the podium, so I guess that was deserved. And there is a great shot of the Red Bull Porsche alongside the Quadrant McLaren. I just wish that the team names could be updated with the packs that I've installed. That would have made it a lot easier to read out some of these, especially on that leaderboard at the end of the race, which we'll get to in just a moment. But Max Verstappen picks up a win. That makes him, I believe, our third winner of the season so far. And he's joined there by Charles Leclerc and Fernando Alonso. So let's get on with finding out where the rest of the drivers finished. And here are the final results. Max Verstappen actually stole away the fastest lap before the end of the race. After the podium, we had Lando Norris, Lance Stroll, Esteban Ocon, Radiant Slothz, George Russell, Pierre Gasly, and then Carlos Sainz picks up the last point. Over in the Drivers' Championship, Lando Norris remains at the top of the table, but Fernando Alonso and Max Verstappen both jump past me, up into second and third. Then we had Charles Leclerc, Lance Stroll, Lewis Hamilton, George Russell, Esteban Ocon, and Sergio Perez rounding out the top 10. Further down the order, we have Pierre Gasly, Carlos Sainz, Yuki Tsunoda, Dan Ticktum, Alex Albon, Kevin Magnussen, Oscar Piastri, Théo Pourchaire, Robert Schwartzman, Mick Schumacher, Zhou Guanyu, and Nicholas Latifi. And over to the constructors, McLaren become the first team to score 100 points in this season, followed by Ferrari, and then Red Bull, who jump up to third ahead of BMW Slothz. Then we have Alpine, Mercedes, AlphaTauri, Haas, Williams, Alfa Romeo, and Aston Martin. That's all for now. We'll catch you in Miami.